Hey guys, in this video, I want to go over the object-oriented principles that are native in Python. All right. So what is OOP? How are we going to use it? I want to go over that in this presentation. All right. We are not coding today. All right. But before I get started, please like and comment on this video and please subscribe to the channel. All right. It would be much appreciated. All right. So let's get started. So what is object-oriented programming? And that's what I mean when I say OOP. And object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm, and there's two essential things you need to understand: classes and objects, right? And you'll really see this by the end of the presentation, is that object-oriented programming enforces clean code, modularity, and a lot of programming languages like Java, C++, and Python already use object-oriented programming. So it's a game changer, and developers love object-oriented programming. All right, so let's understand a bit more. Okay, so what is a class, right? I said there's two main things, classes and objects. So what is a class? And the class is like a blueprint for objects. When I say blueprint, it means that every object of a class has to adhere to the class structure, right? So let me give an example. Let's say that there's a car class, right? So there's going to be a lot of, things that objects of the car have to instantiate. I know we didn't go over objects yet, but just hear me out on this. So, every car has an engine, every car has, wheels, has, height, these kind of things. So those certain parameters that every, object of the class has to define is there. So let me think of another example, right? Like picture like it's like the instruction manual. I think that's the best way to put it. So if you're trying to use something, right, the instruction manual that you have to adhere to, that is what the class is, right? So it lays out the fields and methods that are available to you, and there's a constructor that lets you instantiate the class. So objects can be instantiated via the constructor. So, I think when I explain the constructor, it's going to make more sense. So what is an object? An object is every instance of a class. So let me explain this. So let's say we have a class bird, right? It's a super general thing, right? Like a bird, what type of bird, right? All these sort of things. So objects tend to be more specific because a pelican would be an object of a bird, right? And the bird class will have fields and methods that the pelican has to define, right? Like wing type, what country are they from, where do they migrate to, right? What these kind of things, right? The bird will have those kind of methods that the pelican will have to define for it to be a valid object. Same thing with pigeon, right? So that's the idea, is that the bird is like the template, right? So classes tend to not be very specific. It's just a template that objects of the class actually define, right? And pelican and pigeon are not the only objects. There's way more, like blue jays and eagles, right? So those are just the two birds I thought of the top of my head, right? So now, what are the pillars of object-oriented programming? Well, there's abstraction, which states that only show the fields and methods that you have to, right? We're going to go over that. Then there's also encapsulation, which is basically providing the box around fields and methods, right? So that when other files or other entities are trying to access those fields and methods, are you encapsulating them correctly? Right? We also have inheritance, right? So can you extend the functionality of another class? In fact, when I talk about the bird example, that is an example of inheritance, okay? And there's also polymorphism, where methods can take multiple forms, right? So we're going to explain all this in the next couple of videos, all right? So I'll see you then. Bye.